What's up, guys? Thanks as always for supporting the show. It would mean a lot to me if you would take a second to scroll down and hit that subscribe button so you don't miss any more of our videos. Also, make sure you follow us all over social media so you don't miss any of our content or show announcements. From your own viewing experience, do you have any games in particular that still break your heart to think about? As a LeBron fan, I'd imagine either the Jamal Murray game winners in 2024 or game one of the 2018 finals that come to mind. But I'm curious if there's anything else that resonated with you. So the 2018 NBA Finals game one obviously is a big one. Not even, I didn't think the Cavs would have had any chance to win that series. The talent gap was too massive. Like even if they won game one, the Warriors would have just won the next 4 games. But I just was discouraged in the sense that I thought LeBron deserved to win that game. I thought he was the best player on the floor by a mile, and I thought he played well enough to get the job done. And just everything went wrong down the stretch. A lot of people don't remember this, but there was this bizarre overturned block charge call at the end of that game where LeBron took a charge on KD. And in an era where we didn't even have video review or challenges, they just went to the monitor and overturned the block charge call and gave KD 2 points, which is bizarre. Even regardless of what you think about the call, it just was a bizarre sequence that went against LeBron in that moment. The missed free throw from George Hill, J.R. Smith forgetting the score. There was just so many things that went against him, and that ended up sending the game to overtime. And he just played well enough to win that game, and I think he deserved that moment, even if the Cavs had no chance of winning that series. With the Jamal game winners, it's really the first one, not the one in game 5. If you guys remember, the Nuggets scored on 9 of their last 10 possessions in that game, including some wild plays like that weird transition sequence where the ball almost got turned over out of bounds, but Aaron Gordon saved it to Michael Porter Jr. at the right wing, and he hit a contested, crazy leg-kicking 3 on the right wing that went in. LeBron was amazing down the stretch of that game and hit all of these shots and got a big steal and dunk. That was the one stop they got in the last 10 possessions. Was LeBron with the steal and dunk. And just in general, as I look back at that series, I thought the Lakers were much closer to winning that series than it looked. It just, any chance they would have had to have a big late series chance to win was taken away by Jamal Murray hitting those 2 shots. And so obviously those ones were tough. Game 1 or game 5 of the 2015 finals, or a couple other ones that I look at. Total roster mismatch, obviously, with Kevin Love and Kyrie Irving being down. But LeBron was just still so good in that series that he was able to keep the series super competitive. And a shot or 2 here or there in one of those 2 games could have swung it the other way and given LeBron one of the more impressive titles in NBA history. Those are a couple games that I look back on. 3 more. The majority of former NBA players, coaches, and execs believe Kobe is the greatest player ever. What is the Kobe GOAT case that most of the media does not agree with? I believe it's because Kobe lost 3 years buried on the bench, lost 3 prime years with Kwame Brown, and a few other years with an old washed roster. Whenever given a good roster, he went 5-2 in the finals. First of all, there are obviously some fans and some coaches and some players that think that Kobe's the GOAT, but I push back on the idea that the majority do. I think the majority either think it's MJ or LeBron. I have Kobe at 3, but I think there's a gap between the LeBron and MJ tier 1, 2, and that next tier that Kobe leads. The problem here is that Kobe's just a lesser version of MJ. When we argue about LeBron versus MJ, it's about the differences in their games. It's so much of what's in the eye of the beholder, so to speak, right? But Kobe was basically the same type of player that MJ was, just not as good. I also think LeBron and MJ were clearly the best players on all 10 of their championship runs. Now, I think Kobe was underrated in the early 2000s. I think the idea that you could just swap Kobe out with anybody and they'd win 3 is misplaced. I think if you put a lesser star in that spot, they'd probably still get 1 or 2, but them getting all 3 of those had a lot to do with Kobe, and he was still remarkably valuable. But obviously Shaquille O'Neal was the driving force behind those title teams. I just think there's a clearly discernible gap between where Kobe is and the top 2 guys. Whereas for LeBron and MJ, it's so much up for debate and there's not as much of that discernible gap, if that makes sense. Hi, Jason. I love your podcast and welcome to Denver. You've stated that LeBron James is your favorite player of all time and he has been in the league for 20 plus years. I was wondering, since you have such high regards for Nikola Jokic, if he continues to play at the same level for the next 10 years, and I think that he will, Can he replace LeBron as your favorite player of all? And can Jokic not only be one of the best players of all time, but in fact, the best player of all time? I don't think Jokic will ever replace LeBron as like my favorite player, just simply because there's like a youthful, sentimental element to it. Like, I fell in love with basketball as a teenager watching LeBron James. So there's a sentimental element there that Jokic could never, achieve with a fan like me, right? I've joked about it on the show before, but when LeBron retires, I won't have anybody really that I root for the way I've rooted for LeBron, because I don't have a favorite team in the NBA, and all these guys that I like now, I've grown to like them as just an adult basketball fan. And so it's just a very different kind of like emotional, sentimental type of feeling. As far as Jokic entering into the GOAT conversation, he just has so much ground to make up in terms of team accomplishment. Now, some of this is not fair, because even amongst superstar talent that we evaluate in NBA history, Jokic has had it pretty rough with supporting talent. He's never played with an all-star. He's never played with an all-NBA player. He's never played with an all-defense player. He's played with a very, very good group of role players. And like, for instance, this team that he's going into this next season with is the most talented roster Jokic has played with, and it's a very good team. But he's never, like played with a player the likes of Scottie Pippen or the likes of Anthony Davis or, Dwayne Wade or Shaquille O'Neal for Kobe. Like, he hasn't had that type of top end supporting talent. And so it's complicated. You can't just weigh team success evenly between Jokic and other stars in NBA history. But even within that context, one title is not going to get it done. I think where it could get interesting for Jokic is if he got like 3, and the 3 that he got all were overcoming crazy difficulty. Like if he beat Houston and Oklahoma City this year, and, Cleveland, let's say, out of the East. And it's like, holy shit, that's one of the toughest titles ever. And then he gets another one like that at some point. And like he has like 3 with like 4 MVPs and this extended, like, because he's already going into his 4th season as like the definitive best player in the league. Let's say that stretches to like 7 or 8 seasons. Now it's like, man, the only times in NBA history we saw players beat definitively the best player in the league for that long would be LeBron and MJ. So like if he could, that's where it could be more of a conversation. But I think in order to get into the GOAT conversation, at minimum, he would need 2 additional championships.